my friends, here it is. The Monday morning live stream at the Thrive Like a Viking headquarters. In zone, well, the zone's irrelevant, but we are in the totality zone. So we are actually right on the crest, right on the border. So it's changed a little bit. And where I live, Fort Wayne, was in the totality zone, but not the north side of the city. Just the south side was. But now it's a couple of miles. It's moved a couple miles. So we're going to go a few miles south and just sit in a good old Indiana farm field. None of the crops are planted yet, so we're just going to drive down south a ways and sit out in the farm field and wait for the event. So this is kind of an open topic today, but I do want to discuss a few things about the nature of people that understand natural occurrences throughout history and how that can be utilized, how that has been utilized against the people that don't know about the natural occurrences, things like this. And we can use that as an illustration for so many things in life. We're not just talking about the old school, the one incident. It can be used as a framework to understand what is going on now in our world. Very much so. Oh wait, I got to get this cardboard box out of the picture. Sorry, guys. Yep, unacceptable. Okay, so let me do the sound check real quick. Total eclipse is coming. Okay, what did I say? Hello, Lady Green Thumb. Good to see you here. Says, finally made it to your channel from the gardening channel. All right. Brian says, sounds wonderful. Would love to see the eclipse. Yes, I have seen several eclipses, but never a totality event. So everything I hear and read and understand of it is that the difference is mind-blowing. So we'll see. I mean, if it really turns into night during the day, then we could understand why in the past the people that didn't understand it would think, oh, the gods are angry with us, or something like this. Yeah? Or, oh, we have to satiate the hunger of the gods, and because it seems totally insane. Yes. Andre says, total eclipse is coming, but not here in Serbia. No, not in Serbia, huh? Cowgirl in Arizona says, Nate, did you see that the eclipse starts at 11:11 in Mazatlan? You said total eclipse. Okay. Yes, 11:11, huh? Yes, we here it starts at but remember it's always just now, but here it starts at 3 p.m. So we're gonna get out there kind of early. Hello, Crystal. Good to see you. Hopefully you're going to the totality zone. We will have beautiful weather today in northern Indiana. Yeah, we sure hope so. But just look, guys. So the weather forecast was sunny all day, but now it's sunny and then 1 to 5 cloudy. So we'll see. But you gotta go. You gotta go and find out. So let's see what you guys are talking about. Then we're going to have a meditation. Then we're going to talk about some things. And we'll see where it goes. All of it's just going to basically be positive, guys. No matter what we talk about here, this is how you want to start your week, really. Is just with the positivity and with but with real positivity. Not like fake positivity that, well, everything's just positive all the time. No, we can talk about things like the manipulation of the masses. We can talk about things of the subconscious stenciling, programming, and all these kind of things. Also, we can talk about the spiritual aspects of life, which life and spirituality are one. We can talk about all of that because we are the observer, and we can see with crystal clarity. So we don't have to worry about becoming bogged down by the thought of what has happened in history or what has happened to the masses, and none of that matters. But it's good to be aware of everything. We can discuss it all. So, let's see. Nick the Gardener, good to see you here. Hi, Nate. 6 years, 6 months, and 6 weeks since the 2017 eclipse. Is that right? Wow. I wonder if it's 6 hours and 6 minutes, huh? Teresa Dura says, total eclipse is here. Where? Where are you? Hello, Nancy. Good to see you guys. Remember, I'll be in Chattanooga at the Community Garden Center on the 27th of April. If you guys are interested in seeing that, I'm going to give like a talk on JDOM and stuff. We'll see where it goes. We don't know exactly yet. So let us see. Hello, Aaron Johnson. Good to see you. In Independence, Kentucky, I think you're going to see the eclipse completely, huh? Kenny Green from Lodi, are you going to see the eclipse? Jerry, just listening in, have some chores that won't wait. Oh, I understand that. But Jerry is in the deep center of the eclipse. He's going to see the maximum amount of time outside of Indianapolis, yes? Val says, good morning, everyone. Overcast and cloudy this morning. No eclipse for us. Anyone else in Arizona able to see it? Oh, man, you should check the weather forecast and go if you can. Hello, Creative Soil. Good to see you, my friend. So Nick's, the gardener says 6 days, too. Wow. Graham, what's up, my friend? Are you going to be able to view the eclipse from cloudy Ireland? Burger Time says, this eclipse stuff is worse than the NFL. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things from a lot of people, but personally, because I don't watch any media sources, I don't really know what they're talking about. But I guess it's been really hyped up a lot. I think Indiana even declared a state of emergency for some reason. I don't get it, but you know how it goes. So we'll see. Graham says, skies sprayed here as usual. It's a dull gray sky. Ooh, yeah. All other times I would love overcast. I do love the overcast here. Overcast and cloudy. Hello, Miss T says overcast and cloudy here in Northeast Texas. Okay. Clear skies in New York, Danielle Patron says. In North New Jersey. Okay, good. I think you guys will see it. Grandma Zoo says stay away from crowds. Yeah, that's what everyone was talking about. It's going to be all congested and there's going to be all kinds of chaos and stuff. And I just don't see. I mean, Indiana Hoosiers aren't going to be like that. You know, Hoosiers are way more laid back. So that's not really going to happen here, but maybe in some other places it will happen. But that's why we're just going to take the back roads and go way out to the cornfields that don't have corn in them now. But we're just going to go there because that's where there's plenty of space, oceans of tilled up earth, which if you follow my other channel, you understand how tragic that is. So, okay, guys, let us drop into the meditation. Okay. So wherever you're at and whatever you're doing, just temporarily suspend it and we will come right back to it when we are finished. But for these 8 or maybe 10 minutes, we are just going to let it go. We are going to recondition the mind to remain in the present. So, let us begin by taking 3 deep conscious breaths together, breathing fully in. Hold. And let it go. Again, breathing fully in. Hold. And let it go. Last one, fill the lungs as deeply as you can. Hold. Hold. And let it go. Now allow the breathing to return to normal, naturally and normally. Allow the body to breathe in whatever way it wants to breathe. Make sure the spine is straight, but the body is relaxed. Become fully aware of the sensation of air as it flows in to the body there's a subtle sensation, the ring around the nostrils. You can feel the air flowing into the nose and back out. At first, rest your attention just on this. Breathing in, breathing out. Many of you will find that even though you have made the commitment to rest your attention only on the sensation of air, you are unable to, because the mind pulls you in all different kinds of directions. Just observe how this is happening. If you are new to meditation, observe how you actually don't have control over your mind. Because if you did, you could make it sit still for as long as you want. Just observe. And as soon as you find that the mind has wandered away to a thought or a memory or an image or a fantasy, whatever it is, just notice, let it go, and bring the attention back to the subtle whisper of air as it flows into the body and out of the body. Many of you that have been practicing for some time now, you will notice that your mind is becoming reconditioned. When you drop into the meditative state, immediately the mind becomes quiet and still, and you feel a natural sense of peace and contentment and optimism. This will naturally arise when the mind has become stilled. But you also don't become attached to these feelings or this experience. You just observe. Like any other experience, any other thought. It makes no difference what comes across the screen of your mind. Just observe. If you are new to meditation or even intermediate level, you will notice the mind has a pull. It wants you to engage with something. It needs the engagement of the next thought, of the next television episode, of the next magazine that it reads, of the next argument it has with somebody, of the next experience of bliss, of the next, the next, the next. You can witness this pull directly when you are in a state of meditation. Some of you will feel a sense of boredom because there's a lack of stimulation. You've become so conditioned to non-stop stimulation of the mind that the silence produces an uneasy feeling. Just observe this. Just observe. Allow it to happen. And then bring your attention back to the sensation of air as it flows in and out, in and out. It is not important how many breaths you can go, remaining present before the mind wanders away. That will naturally increase with time. What is important is that you consciously interrupt the thought cycle and bring yourself back to the now, to the moment, to a state of presence. And at first we can use the breathing because it is always anchored in the now. It is always happening from birth to death. Always you will be breathing. Whatever storyline the mind pulls you into, just let it go and come back to the sensation of air. Many of you that have been practicing for a while, you will notice that the power of your mind to focus is increasing exponentially. The mind is like a muscle in the sense that it can be trained and strengthened. But there is no end, there is no limit to how strong the mind can get. Together, let us take a few deep conscious breaths, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Again, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Last one, breathing fully in. Hold. Hold. Let it go. There are what could be defined as different levels of meditation. In the beginning stages, the mind is so noisy and so turbulent that you'll be lucky to go a couple of breaths before the mind has pulled you away into some storyline once again. But even realizing that is remarkable, because most people go this entire life, their whole incarnation, totally unaware that they are at the mercy of this thinking machine called the mind, this commentator in the mind, the ego. It's all the same. They're totally unaware that this is even happening, and they think it's me, that's who I am, when it's a phantom. So realizing that there is the pole and that you actually don't have the control of the mind that you thought you had, that is a remarkable step. That is a remarkable step. Now, there's another step after some time of reconditioning the mind that suddenly it will happen. You will realize that, wow, my mind is becoming more still. I can feel the body breathing. If you've done the other meditations we do, sometimes we focus on different things, and you'll realize, wow, I can feel the energy field of the body. This is incredible. It might start as a dull sensation in the fingers and the hands, but it will spread with practice. The sensation of aliveness will spread, and you'll find yourself breathing effortlessly, resting your attention on the current of the breath as it flows into the body, out of the body. No thoughts are happening, no phantasmal images in the mind, just pure presence, and it feels so good. It feels so good. And you're breathing, you're riding the wave. You're breathing with the whole body. You're feeling the exchange with the atmosphere. Whoa. You can go 10, 20, 50 breaths where the mind is just resting on the wave, the current of the breathing. And it is such a beautiful feeling. But that is not the final stage, not even close. That is a wonderful stage, yes. But there comes a time when that too is transcended. And you become the witnessing presence, observing everything that is happening at the same time. Not the experiencer. So what happens to a lot of people in that second stage, when they start feeling that, wow, they get really attached to that feeling. So this is also important, that it's just another experience. It's another feeling. It's a beautiful one. It's a peaceful one. It's a transformative one. And it's magnificent. But it's another experience. And you observe and you watch. And you don't become attached to that experience either. And by attached, I mean you don't think that it's you either. There's no you to be found there either. But for most people, for quite some time, you can just ride that wave of presence, and you'll see the transformative power in your life. Your relationships with people will deepen because you'll be present with them. You've gotten out of the storyline more and more. You're getting out of the storyline of who you think you are. And you are getting into reality, the true nature of reality. You can see people in a totally different light. You can see their essence, which is pure light, pure radiant light, the source of creation. That is what animates their being, the same source that animates yours. And that's what you will see, because the storyline, the turbulence, has become quiet. Whoa. You can instantly forgive people. You don't forget, but forgiveness, which we'll talk about later. So many wonderful transformations happen in your life, and this is the power of the practice, guys, that you will find that your ability to focus your energies has become very powerful. Like I always say, you can take a pile of gunpowder on the floor, on the ground, and light it on fire. And it just goes all over the place, but nothing really happens. But if you focus, you take that same pile of gunpowder and focus it through the barrel of a cannon, now all of a sudden, a tremendous force, something can be done. So you will learn to focus the energies of your life and your mind in the same way, to do things. Little things no longer bother you whatsoever, because you ride the wave of the present. So, Taylor Reindl, $20. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the tip. Definitely. Says, finally caught the meditation, but have to go to work now. Okay, well, make sure you come back to listen to the cool down part, because it's also very important. Because when I was teaching meditation at the Indiana Buddhist temple, we had a real rigid structure at first, to where the people would come and we would instruct with the monks, and we would all meditate. I would guide the meditations and things, but then they would leave. And so over the years, I found it's very important to learn to integrate what you experience. Your meditation has to be a living experience. It can't just be something that you keep locked away to Monday mornings. Okay, well, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes on Monday morning, and then so that's good. No, it's not like that. It has to be a living, breathing practice. And by that, I mean it has to be resilient. It has to be applicable to all different kinds of situations. You have to bring it out into your life. Yes? It's like, to use an analogy, it's like many bodybuilders. I used to be really into that world when I was in my late teens, early 20s. I was in the gym all the time. I was a personal trainer. I was bodybuilding and stuff, taking all kinds of supplements and things. And it's kind of like when those big bodybuilders and stuff, their strength is really only useful in the gym. And it's only useful when they're moving from here to here, or here to here, or this specific little tiny range of motion. But when you get them outside the gym and you're like, hey man, you're big and strong. Can you come help me move stuff all day long up like 4 flights of stairs? Can you help me like do something? Can you come farm? Can you come plant? Can you come help me haul soil? 250 bags of soil. We have to carry them like 90 yards. Can you help me do that? Forget it. That strength is useless, because it's not that little tiny range of motion that they know. It's all this fluid. It's a whole different experience. And so to use that analogy, it pertains to meditation as well. Many things, but definitely meditation. So you need to do more functional meditations, just like the bodybuilders need to do more functional training, yes, so that you can be strong. And it's the same way with the mind. So we do these practices, and even if a ad pops up, and some people, oh no, these advertisements, YouTube is putting advertisements on my meditation, and they get all frustrated. without realizing that that is still part of the meditation. There will always be advertisements, figuratively speaking, in your day to day life. And if you need to be only in a certain location with this certain incense, looking at a picture of a certain guru or something to find peace within yourself, it's not going to be very useful, is it? Because that's not the functional world. That's not the world that we move through. That's not the nature of this realm. So the nature of this realm is that we have all sorts of energetic interference, interaction. And so we have to learn to flow with it. We learn to flow with it. We don't resist the force of what is. And what is can take any form. We don't resist the force. We flow with it. We must flow with the energies. Rod Jr. says, my son calls that old man strength. Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah. When I was, yeah. And the older I get and stuff, all I ever do anymore is kettlebell training. That's it. That's the only kettlebell, and then burpees and pull-ups. And that's pretty much, and I can move stuff all day long. I mean, I have very functional strength. But them big bodybuilders, man, you're like, hey, man, can you help me lift this desk up 3 flights of stairs? And then super winded, super just, because it's not their training. Their training is just that tiny little movement that they do with a whole lot of weight. But what good is that? What good is that in the functional world? Unless you're a power lifter or something. You can understand the analogy? I'm not just going off on a tangent. I'm using that as an illustration as how that applies to all sorts of training, to all sorts of things. This is why we cold train. This is why we sauna therapy. This is why we kettlebell train. This is why we do breath work. This is why we do all the practices, because it translates to feeling more capable in life. It translates to emotional, spiritual, and physical resilience, which is the most important skill to develop. Resilience, in my opinion and experience. Resilience is what it's all about. Adjust, adapt, and thrive. That's the key. But in order to do that, we have to practice that. It doesn't just happen. That doesn't just happen. Some people, maybe it does. The fortunate ones, but it didn't with me. So you have to make that happen. You have to practice resilience. You have to practice functional strength. You have to practice spiritual strength. It doesn't just happen. So, yeah, old man strength. 38. Can I say it's old man strength now? What do you guys think? Can I say it's old man strength now? That I've got old man strength? Creative Soil says, my neighbor's pit bull attacked my little dog on the chain. Not identifying with my thoughts is difficult. Ooh, yeah. I use the daily practices to realize those thoughts and emotions are not me. Absolutely. That is a very good, yeah, thank you for sharing. I'm very, that's not good to hear that. That's not in any way acceptable. So, yeah. Now, that brings up a good point, though, in a functional practice, okay? So a lot of people will think, and especially when I was teaching at the Indiana Buddhist Temple, because those monks are all about, well, it's just different. It's just different. So, but I've come to realize since then, and through traveling in the world and the Indian guru, the Indian spiritual philosophies and things, and then with my own awakening experience, that true awakening and true strength is not pacifist. It's not that, oh, well, I'm not saying your situation in particular, but I'm just using this to illustrate that it doesn't mean that we just lay down and we let everything happen to us in life. That, oh, well, the neighbor's dog keeps coming over and attacked my little dog. Oh, well, I'm just going to, meditate, and I'm just going to let it go. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm using it as an example. So that's not necessarily, sometimes that's totally acceptable, but that's not necessarily what will always happen, because it's an internal experience. You're not attached to it, so you're not reactive. The old me would see that and go over to his place. You need to keep that dog. I'm gonna put a bullet in its head. Something like that. The that would be the old way, but that's reactive way in the ego mind way. In which case, you don't have any choice. Actually, you don't have any free will. If you're still in the ego mind, you don't have free will. You don't have choice of any kind. You are functioning upon a set of conditioning program, a program basically, based upon inputs from the past. And so you are at the mercy without even realizing it. And then it causes all kinds of strife because the ego mind wants to march right over there and give him a piece of your mind, or wants to, your dog killed my dog, so I'm gonna kill him. Something like that, And that is how it perpetuates. And we call that hillbilly. And we call that disastrous, and we call that the ego mind. So transcending it, now it's an internal experience. So we observe the situation, okay, and we listen to the heart energy, but only once you've gone past the ego mind and you can trust the heart. Start small first. Don't start with something big like that, something like really, but then you can listen to the heart. And sometimes the heart tells you, you have to shut that down. You have to take action. Equanimity can look like taking immediate and forceful action if necessary. The heart energy is whatever the situation calls for. Whatever the situation calls for. And once you learn to trust it and flow with it, then you will know. And I've had this experience. Sometimes you got to shut them down fast and with force and with no uncertain energy or language or whatever it takes. But you can do that without losing the poise. You will do that still in perfect equanimity. It seems like a oxymoron, like a paradox, but it's not. Once the ego mind is transcended, you're no longer a slave to it. And with crystal clarity, you can take action. And the heart energy will tell you that it's not retributive. It just sometimes it needs to be addressed immediately. And you'll know how to do it in a compassionate way. These all comes from the training. So, yes. Okay, so someone's saying something about the Creative Soil says he has an infection in his leg that I'm concerned about. Yes, this is unfortunate. This is unfortunate, my friend. I hope that heals itself quickly. The Val says, those little things that used to bug me, more like make me angry, petty stuff, are fading to nothing. Thank you for guiding me. Absolutely, Val. That is and that's the result, because you're consistently here, you consistently show up, and you consistently do it. That's all that really matters. That's what a lot of people don't grasp fully about the practices, is you just do it and allow the magic to happen consistently. And you will see. It's the law. You will see the transformations in life. And the heart energy will tell you, what's petty and what's not, what's necessary to address and what's not. When the awakening happens, yes, most things are revealed to be totally insignificant and petty and trifling and not requiring of any more energy. Most people's energy is drained by trifling, petty, little, nonsensical irritants, that have no relevance to anything really, other than the ego mind says, you've done this to me, or I've got to do this, or the ego mind's insane. It's a total lunatic. So Ms. T, yes, says it will be done with grace. Absolutely it will. It's the heart energy. And when I talk about the heart energy, it's not my heart energy. There is no me. There is no me. There is only the totality of what is, the totality of creation. It is the same heart energy that is guiding you. They're not two different energies. It's one. Ben Hudson says reaction rather than response. Yeah, the ego reacts. So something happens, boom, reacts, hey, you, based upon its past conditioning. The heart energy responds. That's very good. The heart energy responds, but you can only do that once you have disassociated, because most people are like, oh, it's I'm trying really hard, and at first it feels like effort, but then when it actually happens with some time and effort and practice, then uh the yeah, well, then it becomes clear. Totally, my mind went to something else for a second. My mind, because I looked down here and I found my welding helmet, and so I got a little distracted. This is what I'm going to use to look at the Eclipse. Yeah, I actually have two of them. So yeah. Anyways, VA Green says, just being aware of the reactive mind is a huge step forward. Absolutely. It is a huge step forward. And that is the beginning of the end, the reactive mind. Pam, that's a good one. Says, complaint is poverty of thought. Yes, definitely. Poverty of thought. And it's all kind of the poverty mindset, what we could call the poverty mindset. People that complain, they feel sort of, it's the victim mentality, which is encouraged in our society. It is deeply encouraged in our society. You're a victim. All these people are oppressing you in some way, or all these people have done something to you in some way, or whatever it is. You're a victim. That's why you can't get ahead. That's why you're never going to do anything. That's why you've not done anything with your life. Because, see, all these reasons. The ego mind loves that. Says, yeah, that's why. All these people, get them. That's not why, actually. That's not why. There's only one reason, and it's your own ego mind. And so the poverty mindset is always complaining. I'm always sort of the victim. See, nothing ever works out for me. And the scarcity mindset is part of that. The hoarding mindset. It seems like a paradox. Hoarders, they have a scarcity mindset. What? Yes, they have a scarcity mindset and hoarding every tiny little thing. Me, I need it. I need it. And at the root of that is a subconscious, unconscious belief that I am things. It's instilled its sense of identity, its sense of self. The ego mind has infused its sense of self into these objects. And so in the unconscious drive for more, which is what the ego, it's the only drive that it has. It's the drive of the ego is more. So it says, okay, I am, because it's infused its sense of self into things. So it says, I am these things. Well, then I need more things, because so I'll be more. That's the nature of the ego mind. Once that infusion has happened, then the people will just, even if it's trash, if they've got a lot of money, it's houses and cars and planes and boats and women and experiences and all this. But it's the same exact structure as the hoarder that is living in trash and waller, or this. It's the infusion of the ego mind, sense of self, into the things. And it says, I am these, so I am more. You see? Oh, I can't let go of that old stack of newspaper from 1975 because I might need it sometime. They'll come up with all kinds of thoughts, but what it boils down to is their sense of self is threatened. And so they'll say, I can't let go of any of that because that's me. That's what I am. I'll be less than. Even though I've got a house full of what amounts to trash. It doesn't matter. It's mine. It's what I am. This is the sickness. This is the mentality. And you can see it everywhere. It's encouraged in our society. It's more evident with hoarders, but with rich people or financially wealthy people, they can have the same mentality. They still don't feel any more peace. They still don't feel any more contentment. A lot of times people with more things that have nurtured this drive for more, they feel less satisfied, less content with life, less open to the subtle energies of love and of compassion and of union and of peace that are flowing all around. They've become totally possessed by the drive for more. So even though it appears like, oh, wow, they've got these big mansions and all this stuff, I've had enough experience in life to know that that doesn't mean anything when it comes to divine satisfaction, which is divine. It is divine. Cowgirl says, true, I've been cleaning houses for 29 years. Hoarders associate with their things. Absolutely. And most people that don't understand the human psychology or the more importantly, spiritual psychology of the ego mind, then they will come up with they will address it on the level of thought. And they'll say, I don't understand what they're doing. I've talked to them. I'm trying to tell them, look, these magazines are useless. They're all stained, or these takeout containers that you've rinsed and you've got a stack of takeout containers and you've just got trash and all this old stuff. I've tried to tell them that it doesn't serve a purpose for them, or that what are you doing? This is just constricting your life. None of that matters. None of that is going to get through to them because it doesn't function on the level of thought or logic. Because logically, well, you don't want to live in waste. You can't. The organism can't thrive in waste. And so you need to, but once you understand the ego mind, how it works, and that the sense of self has been infused into that, that's the root of the issue. So in order to solve it or heal it, that needs to be healed. It needs to go to the spiritual root, and it needs to withdraw the sense of self that has been infused into things. The things are interchangeable most of the time. Some people put it into one thing in particular. My precious, like the little golem creature in Lord of the Rings. But once that's been withdrawn, whoa, once their sense of self is now turned within to the infinite vastness of all that is, it can never be threatened. You can't lose it. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't increase or decrease. It's just everything that is. And that's your sense of self. Whoa, whoa. Totally game changing. Then it no longer matters what the things in the external experience. It can, if you want to come back and play with those things, spiritually speaking, yes, it's wonderful. But there's no sense of self. There's no self-seeking anymore. So Nancy says, love the helmet. We wore those for the 2017 eclipse. Yes. But something I just learned today is that there's different degrees. This one is pretty dark, but this one is like super mega dark. So I'm probably going to wear this one. Yeah. But because those glasses that they're selling at the gas station and stuff are like, you can't even see. I mean, that almost looks like an X-ray. I mean, you look at the sun through that thing, and it's just like barely you can just see the circle. So Lady Green Thumb says, as I'm getting wiser, I'm realizing more stuff is less. Stuff will not be with you when you are laid to rest. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is such a blessing to understand this lesson while you still have time in life to reap the rewards and to feel the sense of freedom and peace that comes with not investing your sense of self into things. And you understand what I mean by sense of self, yes? And we're not talking about a concept, because the concept can just be digested, can just be circled around over and over. You can read a book and, okay, don't invest your sense of self into objects. Okay, so now I'm not going to invest my sense of self. Now we can all just be happy. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to actually digest it until it's an experience, an energetic feeling, an energetic experience. You have to, the sense of self is, what am I? What am I? And not just a thought, but you have to feel it. So it has to be done through meditations and through little meditations and like in the classical sense, like in the Marcus Aurelius type sense of meditation as well, where you just briefly contemplate something deeply. Yeah. And so you can look at things like a car, take some of the things that you have and feel, envision someone smashing it, or envision someone stealing it, or envision something and feel how that feels. And just allow it. Don't think about it, just allow the feeling. Something that you treasure. Think about if someone stole it or if someone vandalized it in some way. Whoa, whoa. Feel, but go within and feel. The sense of self feels threatened. The sense of self feels threatened. And so you can work with these energies. This is how you begin to work with it and to realize what the sense of self means. Not, I mean, just beyond a concept. You have to actually experience it. And you can do this through that kind of practice. So, yeah, Rod Jr. said different lenses will allow different light through. Yeah, one's a gold and one's a green. So, the Andre Puskas says, the more you know, the less your ego is. The less you know, the greater your ego. Yes, and I'm not sure exactly how you mean that, but I would almost say the more you think you know, the greater your ego is. The more you know that you don't know anything, the less the ego is. And we see this all the time with people that know. They think they know. Well, I know. But they have a death grip, and they can invest their sense of self into their knowledge. Your sense of self can be invested into anything. You have to realize where it's invested. And we have to withdraw that and let it disappear into the eternal vastness of the cosmos within. That's what we do. And so we can say, we can see a lot of people, their sense of self is invested in their intelligence. Like this happens a lot of time with real sharp people, in the real technically book smart type people that can remember things a lot and regurgitate good things on testing, or things like that. We see this a lot with really high level engineers and stuff like that that can solve problems. A lot of times they are totally invested. Their whole sense of self comes from their intelligence. And so anything that threatens that, oh boy, that's what threaten, their sense of self is threatened. It's all interchangeable. It's interchangeable. So I see this all the time. I mean, that's very, people are, and especially in the modern world, politics, for example, the whole thing is to get people to identify their sense of self with whatever political party they're associated with. That's how you can be manipulated. If you're deeply political one way or the other, or any way, you've been had. You've been had. Sorry. You are manipulated, and increasingly so. So if you, and that is just me saying that from my life experience, and I know this to be true. This is the truth. And that's the purpose of it. That is the purpose of the politics, to get the people to invest their sense of self in that little tribe, one way or the other. And then, okay, if anything that threatens it, then they're going to go and protest and scream, and they're going to, oh, but the left says this, or oh, the right wants this, and blah, 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 blah. It's all the same. It's all the same. And you will observe all this truths for yourself. You don't take my word for any of it. You just observe and experience. So people invest their sense of self in all kinds of things. Yeah. And in particular, their opinions, their political opinions, or their opinions about what should be this and that. Some people are so vested. Well, these are my beliefs, and this is like this. And so anything that threatens their beliefs, even some of the things we say here, anything that will threaten their belief threatens their sense of self. And this is all unconscious, of course, because if it was conscious, it wouldn't be there. But at first, you can observe it, but you start by observing the inner energy field. You start by observing how you feel within, how things make you, that immediate reaction feeling, you observe this. So when people threatens your belief or threatens your opinion, or when your political party or when your whatever is threatened, how does that make you feel? Go within and feel. And at first, this is necessary. But then there will come a time when you will have purified yourself to the point where things don't make you feel like that. You don't react like that. You observe. You observe. And it doesn't have the power to do anything to you inside unless you want it to, unless you want to embrace it and feel it. But it's of a whole different depth and quality than the reactive ego mind. Vera Witch Lady says, yeah, not only politics, every guru-like thing. But we are used to looking at others for advice and guidance. Taking your life back in your own hands, self-empowerment. Absolutely, yes, yes, yes. I don't subscribe to any guru whatsoever. There's no need for it, guys. The ultimate guru is within. It is your true self. There is no need to follow any scriptures or any kind of thing. All the answers are right here within. The Matix says, have you ever taken any psychedelic substances, and what is your opinion on them? For example, opening the mind more. Back, many years ago now, I was heavily into psychedelics, mushrooms. I was growing them and using them as often as possible, and going in the woods. I mean, I was deeply into them. Yes, this is 20 years ago now, but that sort of phased out of my life. Because. So, without going into my personal experience, it doesn't really matter at this point. But they can be a useful tool for some time. They can be a useful tool for some time to show you what is beyond the mind. But they can never give you what you are seeking, ever. They can become a crutch, a hindrance, and I know this from my own experience. They can become a crutch, keeping you from realizing these states of mind by yourself. There's only one way to get there and never leave, and that is you have to actually walk the path. There's no shortcut. You can't take any substance and, oh, it's open. No, it is a temporary gift from the mushroom, but you have to give it back. So you will go right back in to the dense nature of your current reality. But it can be useful to show you the expansiveness of what is possible, the peace of what is possible, yes. But is it necessary? Absolutely not. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not, unless you're compelled to do it. But you have to understand that it is a temporary tool, and you must give it up because it cannot not ever take you to the highest levels. No psychedelic, no substance of any kind can ever take you to the higher levels. So there's only one route, and that is pure, absolutely pure. So don't invest too much time and energy in psychedelics or any substance of any kind if you're trying to awaken spiritually. Ooh, Sam, that's a good one. After you get the message, hang up the phone. Yeah, it's a tool. It's a tool. But it's not necessary for everyone. Yeah. What's up, Trish? Good to see you here, my friend. Ms. T says, I equate that as over the years, especially during the scandemic, other nurses that I've worked with have such a strong belief in what they have learned from books. They lose common sense. Very sad. Absolutely. We saw that big time with the medical community during the 2020. We definitely saw that. All the, I'm not going into that. Um, so, Graham says microdosing on psilocybin is really useful. Yeah, it can be for some people, but I still stand absolutely 100% firm uh, that it is not necessary and it is a hindrance, a crutch. It becomes a crutch at a certain point. Because what about when you don't have any substance? And even then, the quality of getting there, I can say beyond any doubt, as a person who experimented with psychedelics for years, deeply, I can say with any doubt that the levels I get to now are so far beyond what any psychedelic could ever show me. And I mean that. That's true. The only difference, or the main difference, is that it doesn't leave. It has become my permanent reality. It is here everywhere. It doesn't depend on anything, and it never goes away anymore. So I stand firm saying that it is a crutch, a hindrance. Cowgirl says a well-trained mind is better than any drugs or addiction. Oh my goodness, you are not kidding. The freedom that comes from it, guys. The mind, oh, the peace and the serenity is without parallel. It is without parallel. Okay, guys. Well, I need to get ready to go see this eclipse here before long. So I think I'll probably use this one. I got to clean them up a little bit. But if you have the chance, drive to Totality. Get in the car now and drive. If not, then, well, I'll explain what it was like next time. All right. So thank you guys very much. I always appreciate this. We'll see you right here, same time next week. And the Garden Like a Viking, of course, every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern time. And yeah. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say.